This is my Lund 14-foot SSV. A bit of a heavier hull to this one, but I like the layout. When I got this boat, I very much appreciated other photos online and guys with videos showing the things that they did, because it helped give me ideas, and some of them I used. So shout out to all the different guys that have already posted stuff on their boats. But all the wiring comes through nice and tidy, and a lot of it was fished underneath there. There's a line that Lund puts in there that I've filled up with the wiring for the trolling motor and the bilge pumps. Everything goes underneath there. Keeps it nice and tidy. And then also I added in this line for that manual bilge to pump it out. The other side's open, so if there's water on the splash plate there, it can still drain off. As you can see, it's pretty heavy wire. I got 4 gauge running to the back there, running through the conduit underneath there. Underneath this seat, there's a couple big bus bars. Everything comes together, and the rest of it comes up, feeds either to there, comes up and goes into another couple little bus bars that feed into the gang switch, as well as my LED bar. Easily can get at anything if I need a fuse. Really handy putting the lures underneath the light, getting them ready for when I want to use them. There's my stern. I made this little console just far enough away from the wall that I can tuck in my stern light, as well as my little retrieve stick for grabbing the line off of the downrigger, so I don't have to fall over the boat. I can just reach over, grab it, pull it in, and all good. Bob's your uncle. Setup works pretty good. Wanted to try to keep it clean and tidy, so that's why I used that conduit. The only issue I still have kind of loose is the fuel line for the tank that's up in the front. So eventually I'll probably run another conduit along the edge there, do something with it. But this works pretty nicely for me. I've got the downrigger. It plugs here into this one, which comes off of this, goes underneath, and then connects into that, so it all is nice and tidy underneath. And I've got this downrigger swings and allows it to go past the bimini. I actually have this bimini on reversed. Originally I put it on the way they recommend, with the solid bars in the back to give it a little more support for wind, but I found that this works better for me, because if I try to fold it down, it hits the motor. This way I can undo it, fold it forward, and it works nicely. Also, by having these quick tether straps on here, it makes a really good entry and exit point on the boat. Got my paddles there. Got rod holders. Usually I have 3 in there. Got the rod holders and stuff everywhere. Padded on there, so coming in and out of the boat it's a little more comfortable. Inside here I've got well, it's tight there. I got my anchors and rope rode. Everything's all tidy inside that. Keeps it dry when I'm not using it. There's my little Scotty anchor port for the anchor lock that hangs over the side and allows easy retrieval. Have room in the future if I want to mount another trolling motor on a bow mount, so I can always do that. I just used some aluminum, cut it to size, made a few templates out of cardboard, and took it down to a shop, and they charged me $50 Canadian to put the piece of aluminum together. And then I ordered some EVA foam off of Amazon, put a piece underneath it to support it. It's pretty solid. I'm 260 and I can crawl over that and have no problem. Here's typical battery isolation. 1, 2, both are off. And then below that is a 60 amp breaker for the trolling motor. I didn't want to remove any flotation, but kind of had to. So on this middle section, I split the seat on the top, hinged it, installed a battery in here, and there's where I installed the shunt, and that shows all the draw coming in and out of the battery. This is my trolling motor, so I can see exactly what the charge rate is, what the draw is on it, and that is one thing I would highly recommend to anybody. That works awesome. I put this little console together with a 4-gang switch in there. I have one spare, one for the nav lights, one for the stern, one for the bilge, and a spare. In my little cubby, I've got an LED light that so if I have lures that are coming up on deck, I throw them under there for a while, charge them up before I put them on. I've also installed a battery monitor there, so I can constantly monitor how much battery I have. This is just a small battery for the electric start and trim off the Yamaha. It's not a great battery, but it works. It doesn't need a lot of cranking amps to start that little motor. The motor puts out quite a bit for charging. There I have my battery isolation. Switches for nav light, stern light, bilge, as well as additional USB stuff for my phone and a light that I've got here. Coming from the bottom, comes up to another common positive and negative bus, then runs over to the fuses on the 4-gang switch. This setup here, I may change the top. Seemed to work just a tiny bit over the winter, but I've got my my stern light fits right in here. Fuel line tucks in behind there, runs up to the front where I keep weight. I'm usually by myself, and then gives me a nice little pocket to store the stern light back and under there. For the Yamaha I purchased has the power trim as well as the electric start, but more importantly to me, it has the higher amperage charging. So I had to do some rewiring. This time I went and using the 1-2 both switch, had to set it up so that the Yamaha or the charging outboard would look after charging both batteries. Previously I had it set up only charging the starting battery, and my trolling motor battery I had to pull out, carry it up to the campsite, charge it, which was a drag. So I knew it had to be done differently. So what I've done is brought in all the wiring from underneath, fished it around so it's nice and tidy underneath, got it onto a couple common bus bars here underneath the seat. There's the starting battery. Looks a little bit messy, but I'll clean it up a bit as I go. This big 4 gauge here comes through into the conduit beside here and goes up to where my trolling motor battery is underneath the split seat. But this is how we've set it up underneath here. Just have both the outboard goes to the positive bus, as well as both batteries go to the positive bus. The negative obviously is just common to all of them, and then the rest, like the electric downrigger and all the other switches, go up underneath. And this is a bit of a pain. This stuff so sharp here, smacking my fingers up like crazy, but I did manage to send this 16-2 tinned wire up to the front. But yeah, that took me a while. Definitely a pain. I had to take the cap off. I tried feeding it, but then with my finger just underneath here, it just didn't get enough to hold it straight. The last 2 feet, it really was getting jammed up there going around that back corner, and it was just pushing against the mass of the wire. It was just bending here. It wasn't stiff enough. So just kept working it and working it and working it, and just like when you're elk hunting, keep working it. But I got it. So now I'm gonna wire up the nav lights. One thing that I did, took me a little time, is to get my navigation lights nice and tidy. Originally I had a larger one, but it wanted a couple big holes drilled. This was a lot tidier. I only had to drill a small one to feed the wiring underneath, and that comes out pretty good, and they are very, very bright. Installed a couple brackets that I made up for putting a front bow plate on. They're about 3/4 of an inch to go down the side with nylon washers below, and a couple or 1.5 inch on the top tab to drill down through. Gonna tuck it underneath and going to keep it just below the lip here. Hopefully that works. Here is the cardboard template that I made up. I fit it just slightly larger so that when I set it in, it has a slight bow following the contour of the boat and the bow. So we'll see what the aluminum that I paid to get cut fits like. And now the aluminum piece. So I had to use the rubber mallet. Again, it's got just a slight bow. Took a little bit of force to get one end in and then bow it a little bit and get it under. I can see that there is a little deflection already in it, so that 1/8, while it was easier for me to work with, the 1/4 would have been far too heavy, and the shop where I went didn't have any 3/16, which was my original thought. But I am looking at this and going, you know, I can easily put a little vertical bracket to the base here of this seat, put it up, and then it'll support this end, and there won't be any deflection if I'm to crawl over it or put any kind of weight on it going in and out of the boat. So looks like it's going to work really good.